Revolution, a movement that partners families, school networks, homeschool networks, Christian schools, and churches. So this is a third in a series of 4 Thursday night sessions. Our first Thursday evening, we looked at the theme, Why America Needs Church-Based Higher Education Now. Just a few points we made there. American higher education is broken, philosophically, morally, spiritually, financially. Students are being taught that truth is relative, morality is subjective, identity is fluid, often leading to spiritual and emotional confusion. The church must reclaim its historic role in education as the pillar and foundation of truth. The Virtues Campus model is scalable. It's replicable strategy for local churches to launch affordable, accredited micro colleges rooted in biblical worldview and local mentorship. The second session looked at the Virtues Campus model, and we went through a pitch deck. Basically, we covered in that second time together the 3 components of the Virtues Campus model. That is the local site, often a local church, the academic pastor or the academic mentor. I will sometimes use mentor or pastor. I'm using them synonymously. I think I'll use mostly academic pastor in our time tonight. And the third component is the partner university. We discussed that second time together the site setup, tuition structure, and program offerings. Note that these sessions can be viewed on YouTube if you missed either of the first 2. The fourth and last session will be next Thursday night. Now, I know that that's Halloween, so I'm just kind of counting on the fact that you're probably too old to go trick-or-treating, and you'll still be able to make the time with us. And the last session will explore different site scenarios, churches, co-ops, rural models. And we will hear from, hopefully we'll hear from practitioners who are actually in the field doing these things. Tonight, we turn to what it means to become an academic pastor. In other words, someone who stands at the crossroads of education and discipleship, guiding students in the pursuit of truth and virtue and purpose. So the role of the academic pastor. And let me quickly say, for those who want to pursue the role even further, the Third Education Revolution has published a book entitled The Third Education Revolution, Homeschool to Church College. I'm going to lift it up here. It's a pretty big book. My contribution is Chapter 7, Academic Pastor, Recovering the Gift of Teachers. About 30 of us wrote different chapters. We put it all together. And that 7th chapter can even give you a deeper insight into the role that we're talking about tonight. Well, who then are academic pastors and what is their role? It can best be said this way, I think. An academic pastor is the beating heart of a local Virtues campus. It occupies a central role in the Virtues campus strategy of reestablishing the church as a center of education in the community. You don't need a fancy title or decades of experience to be an academic pastor. You do need a heart for Jesus. You need a commitment to young people, a willingness to walk with them on a journey of learning and transformation. The Virtues model is a new and innovative model of higher education. It is not an assembly line education. It's not a factory style learning. The American model of education is based on the Prussian model, which came to the United States in the 1840s. And the Prussian model of education was designed for military conscripts, for factory workers, for mass production, for conformity of thought. So we sit in rows in classrooms. in a kind of production line sort of a educational atmosphere. That's not what the Virtues Campus is. The Virtues Campus is personal. We will open a campus with 6 students. We cap it at 25 because we want there to be a small enough ratio between the academic pastor and the number of students so that it really is a personal approach to education. It's local. We are reversing the practice of outsourcing our young people to secular universities because that's what we have been doing the last years. We have outsourced them to people that no longer are accountable to us. So we are returning education to the original space that God made for it. That's the family and the church. We are returning education to the client, in other words. It's also discipleship driven. Discipleship is education, or education is discipleship. And it takes places in churches. It can take place in a home, in micro campuses, at retreat centers, where students are mentored face to face by people who love them, who know them, and who believe in their potential. Well, what then does an academic pastor do? You might best think of an academic pastor as wearing 4 important hats. Let's look underneath each hat. The first hat is the hat of a facilitator of learning. You guide students through their college courses. At the local site, you teach and facilitate 10 core Virtues Campus courses over a 2-year period. All the students take all 10 courses over a 2-year period. At the same time that they are taking these on-site courses in person, you monitor your students who are taking asynchronous online courses from a partner university. In other words, you guide and teach students in their academic coursework. You encourage and demonstrate to them how to think critically, how to ask insightful questions, how to apply biblical truth in all fields of study, be that business or medicine or law or engineering or journalism. We believe that God's truth is one, and he has revealed his mind about all areas of life in his word and the scriptures and through his son, Jesus Christ. And so you help students develop the mind of Christ concerning all of life. You help students connect what they're learning with real life through service in the community. One of our core courses is entitled Service Learning, which integrates instruction with a self-directed service project experience out in the community. We do so also through dialogue and reflection with community leaders and fellow students. Job shadowing is built into one of our Virtues courses called Career Calling. So an academic pastor is a facilitator of learning. The second hat is the hat of a mentor and discipler. In other words, as an academic pastor, you model in word and lifestyle for your students Christ-like living. You become a role model to them. As you imitate Christ in your life and in your living, they begin to imitate you. You know, so much learning for young people is caught rather than taught. You shape the lives of your students by the integrity of the life that you live in front of them week in and week out. You build real relationships with the students. The cohort of students is small enough in numbers so the academic pastor can really get to know their students. They're not just a number. They can get to know their students and build a relationship that lasts for a lifetime. I served as the first academic pastor in developing the model here in Minnesota. I wanted to experience that role because I wanted to know the inside dynamics of it. So I was an academic pastor for 2 years. Years later, one of my students during those first 2 years came back and asked me to perform the wedding of he and his fiancée, which I had a joy and delight to do. Another student called me one night and asked me to meet him at a Starbucks. He was struggling with something in his life. So I met with him and we talked. In other words, you build relationships during those 2 years that you have the students, relationships that last. That's the kind of influence that academic pastors can have on their students. You pray with your students, you counsel them, you hold them accountable. You guide and mentor students at a tender time of life when they are asking basic life questions, when they are working through relationships with members of the opposite sex, when they are facing peer pressures, when they are being tempted in many ways and needing someone to hold them accountable spiritually, morally, and academically. You cultivate in them a love for truth, the scriptures, and godly character. God's word says, you shall know the truth and the truth shall set you free. And in this post-truth world that we live in, we have a different message for young people. We have a message that truth can be known because God has revealed truth to us. You point students to the source of wisdom, cultivating in them the fear of God, which is the beginning of wisdom. So you wear the hat of a mentor and a discipler. The third hat, the hat of a community connector. As an academic pastor, you link students to other mentors. One of my students was taking an online statistics course from our first partner university. I'm told it was one of the most difficult courses at the university. She got about 6 or 7 weeks into her statistics course, which she was taking online, and she came to me and said, Dave, I've just hit a wall. I've hit a mental block. I just can't break through it. Can you help me? Well, I'm sure by the deer in the eyes look in my eyes, she was kind of a little disappointed because I have never taken statistics and I could not help her. And yet I could help her. What I did was I reached out to a Christian math teacher in a local high school in the community and said, would you come in and would you tutor her? Would you help her through her mental block? He said, I'd be more than happy to. He came in, sat down with her, mentored, tutored her through her mental block. He did that twice. She got through them. She ended up being on the A honor roll at the end of the semester. In other words, we have people in our congregations who are experts, who are more than happy and willing to be called upon to come and sit and to tutor a student through a difficult time. Another student had another math problem, and so I called for a math teacher in the church that I was a part of to come in to mentor her, and she did that. So we want to connect students with persons around them, perhaps in a local congregation, that can mentor them and get through their difficulties. So you link students to other mentors. You link students to local businesses in the community. As I mentioned, one of the career readiness courses includes job shadowing in businesses in the community. I think they job shadow like in 4 different businesses. And you help your students link up with area businesses. You link students to churches and service projects in which they develop leadership skills as they work with others and in leading a project in which they serve some need in the community. So there's education that takes place outside the walls. You build partnerships with community leaders who can invest in the students' growth. Another of our career readiness courses includes bringing in community leaders to talk to the class about some aspect of their Christian faith and how it relates to their business or to their life calling. I had a former governor in the state of Minnesota come in and talk to my students. Some of you may know Al Quee. Al came in and he talked to my students about how his faith informed his work in government, both as governor of Minnesota as well as his time in Washington. Fascinating what he had to share with the students. On another occasion, I had a businessman come in who spoke about being a Christian businessman and how that shaped his company. As an academic pastor, you also represent the campus in your local area, helping it flourish. In other words, the more well-connected you are with area companies and businesses, the better you can link them with employment possibilities for them even after college. You know, my dream is that Virtue's campus students have such a good reputation for being people of virtue and character, who are workers and leaders of integrity, who know how to work in teams, that employers will come first to Virtue's campuses in search of people that they can hire. I am told that even in the Ivy League schools now, there are employers that are hesitant to hire graduates from Ivy League schools because of the lack of character, the lack of integrity. I would love to have Virtue's campuses in the future have such a good reputation that employers will come first to Virtue's campus for hiring people. So you wear the hat of a community connector. And the fourth hat, the hat of a local administrator. In other words, you help manage schedules. If you're meeting in a church, coordinating church facilities, classroom spaces, working with the church calendar around events. This hat sees you working with the local church, coordinating schedules of activities and of the classroom space. It's definitely best if the classroom space can be designated for a Virtue's campus only, so that a classroom can remain set instead of having to tear down and reset every week, although that can work. But it's best to have a designated space for the Virtue's campus students. It involves coordinating with janitors, so the church facility and the room is open when needed, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. You ensure technology works for the blended learning that is involved in the model. In other words, the more technology savvy you are, the better. Having computer knowledge, how to work projection equipment, knowing the learning management system that we use in the school, and helping students navigate that learning management system. So there is much technology involved, both within the local Virtue's campus as well as students being online, taking online courses from their partner university. So you help track student progress and coordinate communication between Virtues Inc. and the host church. Virtues Central is myself, and a part-time assistant, Linda, is with us. We're the Virtues Central. And so communicating with us on certain things is what we're looking for. So you are a local administrator. Well, what about qualifications and calling? At this point, you may be asking yourself, am I qualified to be an academic pastor? in answering that, the academic qualifications for an academic pastor are really set by the partner university from which Virtue students receive their Associate of Arts degree. Right now, we have 5 partner universities. Some of them require our academic pastors to have a master's degree. Others require only that they have a bachelor's degree. Let me take the example of one of our partner universities, Southeastern University in Lakeland, Florida. Southeastern University is the university that new startup Virtue's campuses in Bulgaria and Kenya and India intend to partner with in the hopes that they'll be starting to birth campuses next year. Southeast University works extensively with international students, and it states that they want our academic pastors to be good teachers and mentors who want to invest in students' lives. In other words, Southeastern University wants Virtues to find the best people to teach and mentor students. I'm not saying that Southeastern University is the only one we use here in America. Others also, but it shows the intentionality of this particular partner university and the desire that we find the best people that can really mentor and teach our students. So we believe the Lord equips those he calls. We believe that teaching is a calling, it's a sacred calling. It's not just a profession. That people are called into the calling of teaching. So here's what we're looking for in academic pastors. Again, a personal walk with Jesus Christ and a growing knowledge of God's word, the scriptures. A passion for discipling youth and transforming education. A humble, teachable spirit. Strong communication and leadership skills. A commitment to truth and prayer and integrity. Degrees are helpful, bachelor's and master's degrees, and we do need to abide by the required qualifications of our partner university. But heart and spiritual maturity and love for students are essential. You may be a church leader, an educator, a parent, or young adult with a passion for building others. If you are aligned with our vision, you belong to this vision. Or you might be thinking of somebody that would be a good academic pastor. I think we have Christian teachers in our public schools today who are just frustrated and who are burnt out and are tempted to step out of the teaching profession in public schools, but they don't want to give up teaching. That's their calling. I think there are people like that who would make excellent academic pastors. A spirit of partnership. By that I mean academic pastors don't work alone. You'll work in partnership with, if it's a local church or local people, local leaders in the church. You'll work with the Virtues Campus USA. You'll work with regional campus directors. You'll work with a growing national team in the United States. So you will not be doing this all alone. There will be a team that will be around you, supporting and encouraging and walking with you. We'll equip you with training. We have materials that cover every detail of what it takes to lead a Virtues campus. We hold 4 or 5 orientation sessions with you. Hopefully a number of academic pastors can be orientated at the same time. We will hold individual Zoom sessions with you for any specific issue that may arise. We have videos and materials available for your use. We have a regional network of peer mentors. An academic mentor and host church multiply We intend to form regional, as they multiply, we intend to form regional networks for mutual support. And here's where regional campus directors come in as well for local training and sharing of best practices, etc. And we have a powerful online learning system. The Virtues Campus uses the learning management system Populi, which is serving us very well. So we're not just teaching classes, we're launching a movement, a grassroots, church-based, spirit-led education movement that will raise up a generation to disciple the nation. Let me just say in closing, if your heart is somehow being stirred by what you're hearing, it may be that the Holy Spirit is moving and calling you to explore further becoming an academic mentor yourself, or someone has come to your mind that you can lead our direction and encourage to explore the possibility of their becoming an academic pastor themselves. So let's not miss the opportunity to do something great. We have the structure, we have the technology, we have the partnership. What we need are leaders like you, simply to say, here I am, Lord, send me. I sense God calling me into that tremendous calling of educating the next generation. Well, thank you. Stay with us here for a few minutes, if you would, and we'll move into a time of Q&A and looking at some practical next steps. So thanks again for listening and being a part of tonight. So why don't we just open it up if you have any comments or if you have any questions, let's hear them. I see that we have some people here that are part of kind of that network. Larry Martin up there, he's a regional campus director in New Jersey. And Larry is working on birthing 2 or 3 new campuses in 2026. He has some great expertise in marketing. He's an entrepreneur. You may want to ask some questions about Larry. I see Warren Hoyt is in our team as well. Linda's there. She's my right-hand person on staff with me. I see some others who are part of the Wednesday prayer time as well. So,
Dave, Rose has a question, how to find the earlier sessions that she may have missed.
okay, very good. I know that you can go on YouTube and just put in the Virtues Campus National Launch. I know that you can access the first one. Again, because of our technology problem last week, I don't know if the second one's up yet, but it will hopefully be up in time. And then this one also can be in time, a few days, can also be found on YouTube.
I just put the link in the chat.
Great, thank you,
So
Larry.
you can find it, Rose. Yeah. And if anybody has a question, realize you might be muted, just in case. You can
Be
unmute
sure,
yourselves, I believe.
be sure everybody can unmute themselves.
Yeah. Talk freely.
Larry, don't be afraid if you have something to add to what you heard tonight. And again, you're leading a regional campus director there in New Jersey.
Sure. I mean, we're very excited. We had gotten off to kind of a late start in terms of promoting and just spreading the word in 2025, but we're looking forward to a good fall 2026. We have a couple of great locations and an idea for a couple more. So we're looking to focus at Millington Baptist Church in Millington, New Jersey, which is really easy to get to. That's right off Route 78, and it's kind of at the right near Morris County, kind of the edge of Somerset County. And then also the Liebenzell Mission campus, which is at the top of Schooley's Mountain, which is just a beautiful place. There have been college classes taught there for 100 years, so they're not currently doing anything. So we've kind of bring our program in, and um, that's an excellent location for people coming from Western Morris County or Warren, um, or even Sussex County can probably, it's a good location to get to, and a beautiful location. So looking forward to that too. They have a pretty active youth youth groups that come for retreats there already. So we're looking to sort of tag along with that because if there's just kids already coming there, why not have school there? So we're looking forward to that. And then the next location would be something in Morris County, maybe Morristown based. And then we have a campus also in Lodi, which Chris Figueroa is running. And again, he got off to a little bit of a late start in 2025, but in 2026, we should have a bustling campus there. And Chris is a very experienced academic mentor, pastor. He is also a pastor and a teacher. He's a teacher by heart for sure. It's definitely his calling. And that's going to be a great campus. So he's got a couple students right now, small, but we did get a late start for 2025. And we'll be at some homeschool shows this spring, late winter, early spring, and some college fairs in New Jersey. So we plan to do what we didn't have a chance to do in 2025, which is really get the word out.
So I have a question on what age levels this program goes for. Does it start as low as middle school or start at junior high or where?
Yeah, Rose, there are two basic target age groups that we address or target as Virtue Camp. The dual enrollment is the first group, and that is 10th, 11th and 12th grade homeschool students. In other words, 11th and 12th grade homeschool students can become Virtue's Campus students and be with us for 2 years. At the end of the 2 years, they can graduate from high school and at the same time graduate with their Associate of Arts degree from the accredited university.
So are they enrolled in a local high school then?
These are homeschool students that were
Oh,
basically,
okay. They're
basically,
homeschooled.
yeah.
Okay, got it. And then,
Which is pretty phenomenal today to
Mhm.
graduate from high school with your Associate of Arts degree. You've cut out 2 years of expenses, et cetera, et cetera. The second target is those who come to us with a high school diploma and they spend their first 2 years of college with us as Virtues Campus students.
okay, then the next question I have is, what does it cost for somebody to enroll in this program?
There are two costs involved, and it's good to keep them kind of separate in our minds. The first cost is the partner university. In other words, the online courses that our students take during the 2 years they're with us. The students pay the partner universities directly, and that varies a little bit. We have a partnership with each of them, but they set their credit cost. And of course, I can share that with somebody in more detail. On the Virtues Campus side, it's about, I think it kind of depends a little bit upon the region of the country, but $7,500 is probably a good benchmark for the two per year for the two for per year. Yeah. So
For the two parts?
that's basic. That's basically what it looks like.
That's both the partner university and the VC side?
It would be about maybe like 10,000 for putting those two together.
Okay.
Todd has his hand raised, Dave.
Go ahead. Todd, do you want to go ahead?
Yes, thank you. I'm driving, so that's why my video is,
Watch the road.
yes. I am. I'm actually just turning into my driveway. Um, so my question is whether you have experimented or experienced people doing the role of the academic mentor or pastor, but having a team doing that, where you have multiple people maybe taking smaller part-time roles, like one doing administration, one concentrating more on the teaching and mentoring, etc. Um, just wondering about that.
Yeah, very good question. Two points at that point. I think it's a fantastic thing if you can work as a team, one being more administrator, one being more the academic pastor. I'm thinking of our site in Bulgaria. That's exactly what they have. There are two gentlemen there that are going to be birthing in campus in 2026. One definitely is the administrator, the other is the academic pastor. The second point is, can you team teach on the academic pastor side? And the question is yes. We would ask one person to be the point academic pastor, but that academic pastor could ask a qualified person to come in and teach one of the courses, for example. So a team teach approach is also possible on the Virtues Campus side.
Thank you. That's very helpful.
Linda, at any point, if you'd like to share anything, they would probably like to hear from my assistant as well. Linda is also the wife of one of the academic pastors in New Jersey, so she's very, very close. A homeschool mom. She knows everything.
I don't know about that. I don't know everything. But yes, this program is definitely something that we are is true to our heart. I mean, our daughter went through the program with Chris Figueroa, who Larry was talking about. Chris was my daughter's teacher. She just graduated this past June with her high school diploma and her associate's degree. And now she is going on to her bachelor's in education at the same university, the partner university that she was doing through Virtues, because a lot of our partner universities offer discounted rates if the students decide to keep going there for their bachelor's degree, which 9 times out of 10 they do because they like the system. They know the way that the learning management system works. They like a lot of the teachers, and some of the teachers are the same. So there's a familiarity there. They have the same students in their classes. So when they're on discussion boards, it's all online, but they do interact with each other online and they answer each other's questions and they do discussion boards. And so they're interacting with each other. So your student is getting peer influence as well as mentorship through the teachers with the partner university. So it's a fabulous program. My husband is currently has 6 students in his cohort. He's doing the second year, and it's fabulous. I mean, the students, you can actually watch them grow. So they come in the first year, they're very immature, they're very rambunctious, and your typical 11th graders, and they think they know everything. And then by the time they're getting through, and you actually see them learning and you actually see them growing and maturing. And the really, really neat thing is that they come together as a group. My husband's cohort, they have a group chat. And just yesterday, I look at my phone, 56 unread messages I had on my phone. It's from these kids going back and forth on this group chat. And one of them finally said, guys, we have a group chat without the teacher and without Linda on it. So, but they were chatting on the group chat, and I just love it. I love to see them interacting. They had a day where my husband was sick, and so he wasn't able to do class. And he didn't Zoom either because he couldn't really talk. So he told the kids, I'm going to put everything online for you. Do it asynchronously, do it by yourself. You know what the kids did? They went to the library and they rented a room because they wanted to get together. And so it's so wonderful when you have a group like that who is very cohesive. I think it's four boys, two girls, and they just all accept each other. They did a senior breakfast last week or the week before, a sunrise senior. So they went and watched the sunrise together, and they went to it's called Paris Baguette. It's like a little chain here in New Jersey, and it's like a brunch place. You get bagels and things like that. And so they watched the sunrise. They took crazy, silly pictures, posted it on the chat, and it's a great experience for them. As a homeschool mom, I think it's a really, really great in between from high school to college. It's a really great in between point because the classroom is small and the academic mentor is a lot of times a pastor, and they're teaching them Old Testament, New Testament. Their character building is phenomenal. And then they go on to the partner university, and the partner university is the one that is giving them all of their accredited classes, their math, their science, their history, their English, all of those things is what's going through the partner university. That's why they're enrolled in two different ones. And it's fully meeting every need. It's meeting their academic need, it's meeting their spiritual need, it's meeting their physical need. It's just growing them in their maturity as well. So I've seen three cohorts now. So my husband had one cohort that he graduated through, and then Chris had another cohort that my daughter was a part of that just graduated this past June, and then now this cohort coming up is the third one. And each time it's such a blessing to be able to watch these kids grow and learn. And I know some people are asking about different what AA degrees can they get? There is a list of different AAs, depending on the partner university that you go with. They can also do a trade if they wanted to. If you had somebody who was interested in like something more hands-on, plumbing, electrical, construction. We have a partner university that's really focused on that. So it really runs the gamut on what your child wants to do. And on what partner university you want to go with, because of course each one has a different price. So if you're concerned with having something that's not as expensive, then you would go with the AAs that are offered at that university. And then if money's no object, which we hope not all of us can do that, but then you can go with a university that might be a little bit more expensive, but might offer different degrees what your child wants to. It's just like looking for college. It's the same thing. When your student is graduating high school, you go and visit multiple colleges, you see what's offered, you see what the price is, blah, blah, blah. And so it's a similar kind of thing. So we have 5 partner universities that you can kind of go through and see what they're offering for the AA degree and what their prices are. And then you can kind of prey on it and see which one you want to do. And all of them are great. All of them are Christian based. So, they'll all be getting a good, solid Christian education. So, if you have any questions, you can feel free to contact me. Um, I can put my email there in the chat, but it's Linda with a Y dot Falzarano at virtuescampus.com. But I'll put it in the chat. And feel free to ask me any questions. I'd love to help with that.
Thanks, Linda. Thanks. Larry, I think you're muted, Larry.
That again. Nina, I just want to make sure you saw the document I put in the chat. It's got all the pretty good outline of all the different majors that are available.
Good, thank you. Is there anything in the chat that I'm missing? I hope not.
I posted my email and phone for Mark. And then I posted a page that I did about the skilled trade program that came up. It's a great, excellent program. It's good that you brought that up, Linda. Probably the smartest career track on the planet right now, besides being a pastor.
All right. There's Linda. So there we go.
There we
Any
go.
other questions?
Are you looking for teachers?
We're always looking for academic teachers, academic pastors, academic mentors. Yes.
Okay. And these courses are completely online or hybrid?
It's hybrid learning. Again, there are 10 courses that are taught in person at a local Virtues Campus site. They are taught, facilitated by the academic pastor. At the same time, students are taking online courses from the partner university. So they are taking online courses and they are doing in-person classes at the local site. So it's a hybrid learning. Yes.
Dave, one thing I don't know that we talked about tonight was that the cost of the dual enrollment credits from the partner university are very reasonable price. So if you have a student that can complete those before the end of high school, official high school graduation, whenever that might be for a homeschooler or for someone in regular school, um, and then you can continue on the second 2 years just at a slightly higher rate, but you'd be finished primarily with virtues, although you'd still have your academic pastor available to you. But you'd go on and you can finish completely online as quickly as you'd like with the partner for the other 2 years at a very reasonable price. I mean, I've been involved with a lot of college education for my kids, and the third and fourth year per credit hour uh, charges are very reasonable at our partners. So you really can complete an education at a very reasonable cost, especially if you start in 11th grade. So it's an excellent value.
Do you also help with job placement?
Do we have job placement?
Yeah, like usually the universities they're helping their students in the final year with job placement.
At this point, we don't have any mechanism specifically for that. No, at this point, we do not have job placement. Again, it's my hope that the reputation of students will be so good that word would get around that they would want to come first of all to Virtues Campus to get our students.
They do job shadowing in one of the classes, like David was saying. So sometimes when they do job shadowing, they network and they have opportunities to talk to people. And sometimes they do get offered jobs or internships or things like that. But we don't have anything set in place that is a technically job placement. But the hope is too that if we're partnering with the local church and the local church is having the Virtues Campus as the host site, the hope is that there will be some businesses within the church that would partner with Virtues and maybe take some of these students into their businesses. We have in our churches a lot of people running various different businesses, and if they could take in a freshly graduated student who has good integrity because they've just gone through this this program and they are built up spiritually, that they could go and partner and network with somebody within the local church. But that's the thought.
Yeah, I was going to say a lot of my employment in life has been not. It's been more about who I knew than what I knew. It's a lot about networking, and being plugged into a church is really a great thing because you're kind of walking in sort of a little bit known because you've got the same values, assumably. So that part's great. And I can tell you from my four kids that went to college, not one of them ever got a job through the college placements. As much as they promoted that, and it was a big thing with one of my kids because he wanted to do something special. And I said, well, it's going to be hard to find a job unless you know people in that field. He said, oh no, the school has an excellent placement program. They had no placement program. So other than to work for the professors for free, that was one option, but we didn't do that one. So
Yeah, Southeastern has a lot of, network with that. I went to Southeastern and they have, counselors and so forth, but it didn't help me when I
yeah,
graduated. And
I know.
I haven't heard of many people getting, but it is a resource. Almost all the universities have somebody there you can connect with and ask about.
Yeah, that really was big when I was younger. You know, a lot of people would be recruited right off campus, but I don't know that it is what it used to be. So my company, we hire a lot of interns, and a lot of them unfortunately don't work out because they haven't learned that much in college, and we don't find them to be all that great. But we found a couple that way, but we found a lot more through employees, that have sons or daughters that we've gotten to know and maybe given them summer jobs, done a little interning or whatever, and we found some of our best people that way. So again, kind of who you know. So getting plugged into a local church and an adult network, which kids don't really realize how important that is, but that's really more important.
So one has to be close to one of these five universities, right? Like physically, because you have to attend classes there.
No, it's all online. The partner university portion of it is all online.
Oh, okay.
So the only aspect that's in person is the virtues aspect. So the students would be going to school Monday and Wednesday, half day from like 9 to 12, and then every other Friday to do a finance and some life skills classes. But those would be the only in-person classes. The rest of the partner university aspect is all online.
And then Nina, the rest of that is that they wanted to continue for year 3 and 4 with the partner university, which they would be encouraged to do. Then it would be 100% online.
Right. Like that's what my daughter's doing. So
Yeah.
she finished with the partner university, got her AA, and now she's completely online. And the good thing too is when they do the virtues classes, they're doing those 10 classes. So every Monday they're doing 3 virtues classes. Now, when they go with the partner university, they're only doing 1 or 2 classes at the partner university each each 8 weeks or whatever partner university you go with. Some of them are 8 weeks, some of them are 16 weeks, but they're only taking an additional 1 or 2 classes through the partner university. The workload is not overwhelming. My daughter has some learning disabilities. She's got some reading comprehension, she's got some dyslexia. She was able to do this program and get A's and B's. So, she and the wonderful thing is because she doesn't do tests very well. And so her professor, Chris, did a lot of oral tests for her because when he was discovering that she was doing tests and she wasn't doing a good job on the tests, he was learning this quickly. And I was talking with him saying, yeah, she gets nervous over the time limits and over the questions. So he was doing that orally with her. And that's the beautiful thing as an academic professor or an academic mentor. When you get to know your students, you get to know how they learn. And so you can really, move around some of your technique to really cater to how that student's going to learn because the classrooms are small enough to do that. So after class, he would take her to the side and he would perform the test, orally, and she aced it. She knew the stuff. She just couldn't get it from here onto the pen. So, and yeah, so that's the beautiful thing about having an academic, pastor, a mentor, somebody who can really pour into you that way. So, and so the workload is not overwhelming because you think, oh, 2 schools, it's going to be too much for them to handle as an 11th grader, but it really isn't. The workload is very manageable, very manageable.
That's why we keep the cohort between 6 and 25, so that they need that individualized mentoring and instruction as necessary. It's not this assembly line sort of thing where everybody learns the same way at the same pace. We want to individualize it as much as possible.
Absolutely.
Well, okay, we are at the hour mark. I'm willing to go ahead more, but if there are no other questions or comments at this point, we probably can close this out. Again, we meet next Thursday night, which is Halloween.
Oh,
So
boy.
either come with your costumes on. I'm hopeful that you're probably beyond the age of actually trick-or-treating yourselves, so hopefully that won't be too much of a barrier. All right. Well, thank you very, very much, and I hope that we can regroup again for our final time next Thursday night.
Thanks, Dave.
Thank you.
Nice
Thank
to
you.
everybody.
Everyone.
Thank you, everybody.